Hello. Today I'd like to talk about the United States as the only superpower, and remains the superpower for the present and wishes to remain a superpower in the decades to come. But to remain superpower, it has to neutralize Russia and China. The United States has two main adversaries or enemies. One is militarily and the other one is economic. Russia, after the collapse and capitulation unilateral of the Soviet Union, didn't capitulate militarily. So it has all the weapons that inherit from the Soviet Union. And China, when it changed the economic policy, developed as an economic superpower almost like the United States. And last year or the present year is very surpassed the United States for a very small margin. But both are the main problems that faces the United States as a superpower. The other ones are of a lesser extent, especially the so-called problems with the terrorist fundamentalist Islamists. That respond to a doctrine that evolved during the last 10 years or 15 years of a controlled chaos in the Islamic area. It's taken care by the so-called Central Command of the United States, and this doctrine was established following the Brzezinski doctrine. Now, what the United States is doing to face this challenge? First, on the military front, the United States is trying to neutralize the power of Russia. How they do it? First, they try to weaken Russia by all means, and Russia, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, become with what sociologists call anomia. They lost the great majority of Russian population lost the reference of what was the purpose, the ideological purpose they have. They were really confused. The restoration of the capitalist system by the very minority of the leadership of the former Soviet Union and the new emerging of the so-called oligarchs, which simply were thieves that stole all the assets of the Soviet Union that were developed during 70 years of that system. On the military front, the United States is trying to encircle Russia, and especially with the former Soviet countries and the like in the Warsaw Pact. And also they tried to change their strategy. During the Soviet era, the narrative was the human rights and freedom. Now it's more on the political change of a regime change, and it's a new doctrine developed by the Pentagon and the State Departments and all the think tanks, the main think tanks of the United States, that was very successful. They called the color revolutions. They did it in in several countries, and they did it in Central Asia and Central Europe, and the last one is in Ukraine, which is the heart of the defense of Russia. Is the last point of defense. And they are very successful also, because Ukraine is collapsing, but it's not a problem of the United States, it's a problem for Russia. And that's why Russia react. Even many, like myself, are surprised by the soft response. The other problem is China. United States is trying to block eventually all the lines of communication of China in the seas, and creating alliances, and of course trying to provoke all kinds of problems, especially in the part of Xinjiang with the Islamist population in China. Those are the simple putting this problem, a strategic problem, in a simple manner. I'm trying to talk these problems to ordinary people just like me. I'm not trying to reach the academicians or very specialized persons, and also trying to avoid all the jargon of the geopolitics. And I think that for today might be a very short and brief presentation of the problems that the United States is facing. Also, Russia and China are facing with the United States. And that will be all for today. Thank you.